Five Nights at Freddy's is a very big franchise. So big, in fact, that I bet you don't know how many games there are in it. I mean, even me, as like a super fan of the series, if you want to call me that, I don't even know how many games there are in this thing. And that's what this video is for. That's what I'm trying to figure out. So I want you to leave a comment below before you watch the video, no cheating, and guess how many games there are in Five Nights at Freddy's. This will include spin-offs and troll games, so count those in your guesses. Got it? Good. Now let's begin, and at the end, we will count up all the games and we'll see how close you were. Before we do get into how many FNAF games there are, I do just have to do some self-plugging really quick, so sorry about that, I apologize, but if you like FNAF, you should definitely like this video and subscribe to the channel because that's all I post is FNAF stuff, and I post every other Friday. So pretty frequently with some good videos, especially some good ones coming up. So stay tuned for those. Also, I recently turned on channel memberships and nobody probably saw it. So I turned them on, and if you become a member, you're basically just supporting me, as well as you get some extra perks in there if you're interested. So, check it out right next to the subscribe button. Thank you for watching. Now let's get into the video. Now this whole video might seem kind of like a dumb concept. I mean, how interesting could I really make a list of all the FNAF games? But that's what I thought too until I actually started researching for this video, and it turns out that there's a lot of very obscure FNAF stuff that has kind of gone under the radar the past 10 years. And I really just want to talk about it because talking about obscure FNAF stuff is really cool, and that's what I want to do. So that's what we're doing. First though, before we get into the interesting stuff, I do have to list off all the games that everyone normally thinks about when they think of FNAF, so I'm going to do that real quick, and then we'll get to the juicy stuff. FNAF 1 released August 8th, 2014, FNAF 2 released November 11th, 2015, FNAF 3 released March 2nd, 2015, FNAF 4 released July 23rd, 2015, FNAF World released January 21st, 2016, Sister Location released October 7th, 2016, Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria Simulator released December 4th, 2017, Ultimate Custom Night released June 27th, 2018, Special Delivery released November 25th, 2019, Help Wanted released May 28th, 2019, Security Breach released December 16th, 2021, Ruin, and yes I am counting it as its own game, released July 25th, 2023, Help Wanted 2 released December 14th, 2023, The 5 Laps at Freddy's demo and Into the Pit released August 7th, 2014, and finally, Secret of the Mimic will be released in 2025 sometime. Now, if you were counting, you know that is 16 games already. Isn't that insane to think about? I personally think it is. Anyways, these games are the ones that everybody knows about, so I'm not going to go into detail for any of them, just counting them towards our total. The real fun stuff begins now. What other games even exist for FNAF? Let's find out. First we have The Joy of Creation. Just kidding, I'm not counting fan games in this video. I just want to go over FNAF games themselves. We really start with Freddy in Space 2. You may have seen this one, it's probably the most popular spin-off game here. This was a simple side-scrolling shoot-'em-up style game, but with FNAF characters and enemies. The goal of this game was to free all the animatronics and Freddy's son, apparently. It was mostly just a fun little game. By the way, I don't know why I keep saying it was when this game is still available to play. Anyways, the game was a front for a charity donation from Scott himself, donating $500,000 to charity. Pretty cool, I would say. If you're wondering where Freddy in Space 1 is, it doesn't exist. This game is a sequel to FNAF 57, Freddy in Space, which is a minigame in FNAF World. Confusing, but sure. Every good series gets a trilogy, and Freddy in Space is no different. FIS 3, or Freddy in Space 3 Chica in Space, released on October 18th, 2023, and was really just a big tease for the FNAF movie. There's not too much to say here. We did get some screenshots and promotional stuff from the movie here, but nothing crazy. The gameplay is also very similar to Freddy in Space 2. Did Five Nights at Freddy's need a fighting game? Probably not. And that's exactly why Scott made Security Breach Fury's Rage and released this gem of a game to the public on April 28th, 2021. This game is just a fighting game with FNAF characters, specifically the glam rock band. The real reason this game was made was as an apology for the delay of Security Breach. Remember, it was supposed to release in 2020 originally, and didn't come out until the very end of 2021. You basically just walk around and kill enemies. There are also these mini anim dudes that will help you out, so that's cool, I think. There was no teasing here, just a game to hold the community over until Security Breach. U2's, yeah, I bet you didn't think you'd hear that name in this video, is a company that makes a bunch of Five Nights at Freddy's merchandise, including figures, plushies, mugs, and even puzzles. Did you know they also made a FNAF game though? I bet not. U2's Presents Five Nights at Freddy's was released April 29th, 2022, and was basically just a big ad for their merch. This was some kind of AR FNAF game where you survived until 6. Apparently, you're a U2's employee or something. I don't know. I can't play it. It actually looks pretty cool for a little spin-off thing. Sadly, it's no longer available. Next up, we have a new category of games, the troll games for FNAF. FNAF 3 troll game released on February 15th, 2015, and was just a big joke from Scott. He had said that FNAF 3 was canceled after someone hacked him, and that this game was the leaked release. I miss these days in the FNAF community. Anyways, it's just a reskin of one of Scott's other games. There is no pause button. Sister Location, Mature Audiences, was released on October 5th, 2016, and is very similar to the FNAF 3 troll. It's just a reskin of one of Scott's old games, an actual good game too, Sit and Survive. I played this game a lot before FNAF was even a thing, so that's neat. This is what Scott had to say about Sister Location MA. This is the MA edition of Sister Location. I personally deem this game unfit for Steam at this time. This title is not for children. I repeat, this is not for children. Anyone who is following the progress of Sister Location and have a sincere interest in the FNAF franchise in general should wait for the official release of Sister Location in approximately 2 months. Thank you. This game came out 2 days before Sister Location did. Here's a fun one. Did you know that Help Wanted got an official re-release specifically for the PlayStation 5 and PSVR 2? Probably not. Five Nights at Freddy's Help Wanted Full-Time Edition released on November 21st, 2023, and is mostly just a port of Help Wanted and Curse of Dreadbear made to use the power of the PS5. There are, however, a few interesting changes, more specifically to the blacklight levels. Freddy and Bonnie's blacklight level variants were changed from being coded in all black to all white. This is the most random thing I could think to ever change. Other than that, nothing is different. I just think it's neat that they updated this game to work with the PS5 long after most people are ever going to play the game. Also, it's got a cool name. Speaking of Help Wanted, did you know that there exists an alpha version of the Curse of Dreadbear DLC titled Rise of Frank and Freddy? Pretty cool, huh? This thing was found by accident when someone stopped the game from updating, and it loaded up this version. There's quite a few differences in this version, but my favorite is that Pirate Foxy is not actually wearing his pirate outfit. Wouldn't it be wild if that never got added? This next one is also kind of a weird one. FNAF has an official Roblox game in the works with a similar gameplay loop to none other than Dead by Daylight. This thing, FNAF Survival Crew, was accidentally released on December 20th, 2023 and only stayed up for 2 hours before being taken down. Afterwards, Mr. Cawthon came out and said that it was not meant to be released and that an approval for a skin somehow was interpreted as an approval to release. I don't understand how that even happens in the first place. Anyways, he said it would be reworked in 2024 with no updates on the project since. It's funny that this came out and then the next year we got an official DVD collab announcement. I don't think this thing will ever come out. Not without very different gameplay anyways. I mean, look at it. It's kind of awful. It was an alpha, so I'll give it that, but still pretty bad. The next two games on this list are actually unreleased. Whether or not you want to count these is up to you, but they are FNAF games that have at the very least been mentioned, so I'm counting them. Plus, I like these obscure FNAF things. FNAF's AAA game is said to be some kind of multiplayer experience according to Sky. The only thing we know about this one is that there was a deal signed with Universal that seemed to have fallen through, and Scott said to be starting to work on it in late 2020. With how 2020 went, especially for FNAF, I don't think we will see this anytime soon. Still fun to think about though. Five Nights at Freddy's Into Madness was announced in the same thread as the last game, but we kind of have like a tiny bit more info on it. This game was basically said to be a FNAF World 2 of sorts. That would be so exciting. I mean, for one, I love FNAF World. I think that it's overhated and I think that it needs a second chance in the community. Anyways, he said that this might become a Steel Wool thing, and we have since gotten no info on it. It's a shame, really. I really want to see this one. So, after going through all of those games, do you think your guess was right? Let's find out. How many Five Nights at Freddy's games are there? My answer that I've come to with this video is 27, but I can see why you would disagree with that and why that would maybe be a controversial number. Should I really be counting the PS5 re-release, for example? Do the unreleased games count? Does Ruin count? Ruin is like so different from Security Breach that it definitely should count, but whatever. The point is that that's the problem with answering this question, is it's too complicated. No one can ever agree on what counts and what doesn't. I include the PS5 remake because it gets its own title and some changes, but does that really make it its own game? I guess that's up to you to decide. I guess the point of this whole thing is that there's definitely a lot of FNAF games. Maybe a better way to do it would be by categories. These 12 games are mainline games, these 9 are spin-off games, these 2 are troll games, and the rest technically don't count because they're unreleased or alphas. Maybe that would work, but that still leaves a lot of questions with not a lot of answers. So how many FNAF games are there actually? However many you want to count. My answer, since I promised one, is 27, but you can choose to exclude or include whatever you want here. At the end of the day, it's a silly bear game, and I really just wanted an excuse to talk about some obscure FNAF stuff. Are you mad that I didn't mention the Dark Circus Encore? Leave an angry comment about it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time, superstars.